Alright, what is up, everyone? Guys, you're gonna make fun of me, but I meant to start streaming like an hour ago. I meant to start streaming this review an hour ago. And I was like, well, I'm so tired, I'm gonna take a power nap. So I take a power nap. And I kid you not, I was only gonna sleep for 20 minutes. And I don't know how, but I did not wake up to my alarm. And yeah, now it's an hour and 10 minutes later, but we're still here. We're still going to review the market. We meant to take a power nap that was 20 minutes, and we ended up sleeping an hour and 10, but you know what? We're still here. So let's review the market. Let's see what we got going on. So this is really interesting, right? Looking at the daily chart here, objectively daily is kind of broken this low. Kind of interesting. Right, and we also have this volume bounce Thursday and Friday, and this was rejected. It's kind of interesting. So just an observation. I'm going to put this in my notes. So we'll see what happens after this, but I do find this, the way the market's interacting with this nitty opening gap to be interesting. So daily chart, break of structure, and end dog. Okay, so I guess let's look at the lower time frame. Well, first let's take a look at the weekly. As always, guys, the charts are the greatest teachers. The charts are the greatest teacher there is. If you want to know something about trading, stop asking someone else. Just look at the charts, observe it. That's all you need to know. To be a good trader, just look at the charts, see what it does. So, on higher time frame, this kind of looks like a CRT. I mean, look at how we wick out that high. Like on the 2-week, this really looks really bearish on the 2-week. I don't know, just a thought, right? But look at how we wicked out that high. And CRT is kind of making more sense to me now because it's not literally like, always having to be a specific sequence of 3 candles. It's a signature you want to look for in price, right? And it's the wick above a high. We're going to probably run down to the low. So yeah, this is really interesting. 2-week, possible 2-week CRT. So then if we drop down to the weekly, or even the, daily, right, we're above this bearish manipulation. Interesting. Honestly, this is pretty interesting. Guys, I know I'm supposed to look at the lower time frame, but I do find this to be interesting, so I'm gonna review this. This just seems like, such a nice liquidity pool, because this is how do I even explain it? Like, it's that signature. We deliver away from it aggressively, we're probably gonna run back to it. And you can see there's a liquidity pool right there as well. That's so interesting. So maybe we have something like accumulation. This is interesting. I kind of want to put this in my journal, actually. Let's go ahead and put this in my journal in just a second. Right, and we just rebalanced to premium of this. There's a new day opening gap here. Isn't it just crazy how perfect these markets can be sometimes? So hopping up to the higher time frame, we're still above that 2-week CRT close. I kind of want to put this in my journal. So what would this even be? This would be a I guess this would be a well, it's kind of daily change state delivery a little bit. Whoops. Interesting. Nicely placed low resistance lows here. We just rebalanced to premium of this. Kind of feeling like that looks like manipulation. Now we're not quite tapping all the way up to the change the delivery there. See, I'm kind of just looking at higher time frame stuff right now. Nice accumulation range here. Now that right there, that is interesting. Okay, I'm going to put this in my private one because I don't know if how sure I am this is going to happen, but I just want to look at it. I have a private journal specifically for anything that I'm like kind of just pretty iffy about. So what would this be? This would be kind of like a 4-hour change state delivery a little bit. Or maybe it would be like a... No, that's looking pretty accurate, actually. Okay, just a thought. Fourth. Just a interesting thought here. So I'm going to put this in my private journal. We should actually look at the market, though. Figure out what happened. I got distracted, guys. I was looking at the higher time frame. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in my journal, in my private journal. It's just an idea. So anyway, let's take a look at what we got going on in the lower time frame. So lower time frame here. Like I said, right, this is a pretty obvious new day opening gap that we rejected objectively. And this was also in premium of the displacement. So I really did like this. It's kind of hard to miss. Perfectly in premium, by the way. It's really hard to miss that. So this move down that we were just referring to, from premium of this displacement down to discount, see, we already got it. That's pretty interesting, right? So that's the exact move that Kane was talking about. Okay. We also have that 4-hour BPR I was talking about. Also 4-hour volume imbalance there. Pretty nice, to be honest. Very nice, actually. So we can come up, purge into it. We end up getting, I believe we get SMT at the high, yeah. I mean, duh, I remember that. I took a trade off of it. So now this is looking pretty nice. Right, we had accumulation. Manipulation. And now distribution. So where's 15-minute change day delivery? There's a couple. The most obvious one is right here. This one also, it hits it, but this one's undeniable, right? This was the one I wanted to take a trade off of. I almost did. But I was just being extra cautious. And personally, I really do like this a lot. Measure out standard deviations. Down to the second standard deviation. Now third has been hit. I think we'll run down to the fourth. So this one I actually will put in my public journal because I think this is pretty good model. I'm not even gonna lie. I think this is really nice. This one's one where I'm like, yeah, I think this is pretty nice. So then we have the fourth standard deviation here. So, interesting idea. We'll see if that fourth standard deviation hits or not. So, yeah, let's figure out what other trades we had today. So, accumulate, manipulate. Essentially, this is, it's pretty straightforward, right? Accumulation, manipulation. We have our time levels. We have 8:30. We have midnight. We manipulate up. Our manipulation occurs above both of those. So there's midnight. It's exactly what we would expect to see. And here's 8:30 is right here. Wow, and we also go above 8:30 too. And 9:30, but right, look at that. Inducement occurs above both of our time levels. You see that? So accumulation, manipulation. Here's midnight. Here's 8:30. We have inducement of those highs. So cool. So perfect, actually. Inducement and manipulation. Well, I think the important one was the inducement. But also the manipulation was. They were both above 830 and 930. So inducement above 830 and 930. Now let's drop down another time frame. Here's New York session. We go near that statistical manipulation level and then to the statistical distribution level. Not perfect, but close. Hey bro, I was just watching you in the morning. Sweet, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm just kind of observing the market, recapping it, looking at what happened, getting a complete breakdown of the day. And then also finding trades that I could take. Yeah. I'm curious. Let's also put in 9:30 to 10:30. This one will be interesting. Yeah, we rise above the 9:30 to 10:30 bearish manipulation and then down to bearish distribution. Interesting. Are you always taking trades before 9:30 or when it's best set up taking London highs? Like, I just take a setup if it's good. I don't overcomplicate it. I normally, when I get on the charts at 8:30, that first hour is typically always going to be just observing the market. It's usually always going to be pre-market analysis. But today, when I got on the charts, I saw that setup instantly. It jumped off the charts right at me. And so normally I would just keep doing pre-market analysis, but to me, I thought it was a good trade, and so I ended up taking it. But normally I'm that first hour is typically just pre-market analysis. It's just what ended up happening today. And you can see that there was a trade actually, later on in the morning. Well, there probably was. After opening range. Very interesting. Just love to take observations and notes of what happened. So here's market open. What's interesting is, I'm going to get rid of everything. We had a 1 hour CRT. That right there was pretty nice for bias. So CRT low. Took a small loss trying to long it. Yeah, I felt like this move was going to happen. I kind of second guessed it when we came back up, but my initial instinct that we were going to induce that high, and I put it in the live clips section where I was saying we're possibly going to induce the highs at that optimal trade entry and then deliver lower. That aged like wine, man. You gotta watch that in the live stream and in the live clip section of the Discord. That was crazy. I called that perfectly, and we went perfectly to that the flow state OTE sniper entry too. So cool. So, I mean, you can see how this is CRT, right? We kind of just close back within this range. So, once we get this, I'm not convinced of anything until this third candle. Then when this third candle happens, all of a sudden I'm like, okay, yeah, we're probably going to deliver down to that CRT low. That's just my own personal way I see the CRT. I'm in long now, entered at 23,050. Nice. Can you explain CRT? Yeah, I definitely can. And the way I understand it, because the way someone else sees it might not be the same way I see it, but I do what makes sense to me in the market, and I'm always going to do it based off of what makes sense to me, not based off of, however someone else might see it. I just look at the market for myself, observe it, and then trade based off of it. But yeah, I'll show you how I see CRT. So let me finish writing this down. Perfect. Thanks, Javier. Now, technically, you could say that was the close, but we do wick out that high again. So, I'll show you kind of how I see CRT. This is a perfect example right here. This one's good too, but we wick out the high a third time. Okay. So basically, the market, a lot of the time, it's going to have, a giant candle range. This can either be, this could be either one singular candle. So for instance, in this case, this giant red one, it was one singular candle. But sometimes it won't always look like one singular candle. Sometimes it'll look like a series of 3 candles, right? But the point is, you're just looking at a range of either one giant candle or a series of candles, and then you're watching to see a really obvious, essentially like a doji candle, if you know what that is, right? Where you just get this really obvious doji candle that closes back within this initial range of either 1 candle or 3 candles. And when that happens, when I get this doji candle like that, all of a sudden, my eyes turn towards the low of this range, right? The low of this range, whether that's, if it's one singular candle, it'll be the low of that singular candle. If it's a series of 3 candles, it'll be the low of the series of 3 candles, or a series of 2 candles, or whatever, right? Let's say it was a series of 2 candles. My eye, let's make this a little bit more aggressive, because I don't think this is good enough, right? So this one's really obvious here. I like that one, right? It's like, wow, we're probably gonna dump now. So now, when we get this close on this candle here, on this manipulation candle, now we mark out the close of that. It's called like the candle 2, right? Even though it's the 3rd candle in this range, I treat all of the initial ones as like one singular candle. I treat the manipulation candle as one singular candle. Point is, you want to mark out that closing price of that, essentially that doji candle. That's essentially all it is. Mark out the closing price of that doji candle, and your optimal entry point is going to be anything above this. You see that? All of this, anything above here, it's going to be like very, very nice for bias to go target this opposing candle range. So for instance, so then we have the CRT low here, right? So CRT low. And then we run down to the CRT low. So the next candle might look something like this. And your job is to position yourself somewhere within essentially that wick. So you are using candle close inside of consolidation candles? Yeah. Like basically you're looking for a giant, just like a range, like a consolidation. You're basically looking for AMD with higher time frame candles. And then you're getting in once that manipulation candle has obviously closed. Like for instance, right? This one's super, super obvious, so we'll mark out this one, right? We have this giant range from here to here. So this is a really, really obvious manipulation candle. We sweep out the low and then close back within the range. So now I mark out that close. And then now I am looking for a lower time frame trade to target the opposing end of that initial candle, or candles, either one. It can be good candle or candles. That's what I never understood about it. So here's where that manipulation candle closes. And now essentially, right, we're targeting the opposing end here. And so you can see, anything here is fair game. So we're essentially looking for a trade to go target the opposite side. So once again, so here's that initial candle. This is a 3 a.m. candle. This is a good one to screenshot actually. So from 3 a.m. So this is like that initial why is it dotted? Okay, here's that initial wide range candle. I'm gonna make it gray just to prove a point, right? Obviously this was our initial candle range. Then this is our manipulation candle, right? We manipulate the low. So this is on the 1 hour chart, right? 1 hour chart manipulates the low and then closes. So now we've closed back within the range. So now we know bias for the next 2 candles. That's the beauty of this, right? We now know bias for the next 2 candles. is the target. So 1 hour and plus bias for the next two candles is now to target this opposing CRT high. So now we just go on, drop down to the lower time frame and find a trade. This could be anything. Literally any type of entry you want. So we drop down lower time frame. You know, we had this. Let's go down lower time frame. We have this nice break of this high here. Now we have a fair value gap. Within discount of this. So this is like your 2022 model where you sweep out a low. Liquidity sweep. So liquidity sweep, break of structure, right? 2022 gap right here. And now we're using this 2022 gap as our lower time frame entry to target the CRT high. Now obviously you scale out, it's never all or nothing, but my point is you use that for bias. Does that make sense? So you can use whatever entry you see, to be honest, whether it's 2022, whether it's a. So now we know these next two candles are likely to distribute. Hopefully that makes sense. And then, you know, this is also, this 2022 gap is in discount. Does that make sense? So initial candle range, manipulation candle. Here's that manipulation close. So now our entry, we're going to be targeting the opposite side of that range. Are you still here? It makes sense? Understood, bro. Thanks. Yes, sir. Awesome, man. I'm glad that helped, actually. So this is, yeah, 1 hour CRT and then lower time from 2022 model on the 1 minute. So this would be a 545 2022 model 1 minute. Pretty cool, honestly. Are you everyday trading? I am watching the charts everyday trading. Yeah, I do live every day. That doesn't mean that I'm going to get a trade. That also doesn't mean that I'm going to take a win. But you're more than welcome to watch the market with me. If I see something I like, you know, I try my best. But that doesn't mean I'm going to win. But I do try my best. Hopefully that makes sense. So yeah, that 2022 gap was nice. We'd swept out Asia low, and then we ran to London high. That gap we got should tell me sellers were in control, and it happened before I tried longing. Now I know. See, isn't it crazy how we always learn something in every situation? It feels like even when we lose really badly, or when something happens, it's like it's still a win for us because now we're ready for next time, right? But this is really nice, guys. Anytime you kind of see this type of signature in price where you sweep a session high or I can't speak right now. This is a really cool signature that you'll notice a lot in price. Anytime you'll sweep one side or one session, well, we're gonna go to the next opposing session liquidity a lot of the time. Does that make sense? So since we swept Asia, the next session liquidity is London, and that's the one we go to. And then we sweep London. Okay, what's the next one we go to? London low. Isn't that kind of cool? So whenever you kind of sweep session liquidity, a lot of time you'll just drive to the opposing session liquidity. So this is an interesting observation that I just noticed. I mean, I've noticed it a lot before, but of the time when you sweep session liquidity, we will go to the opposing session liquidity. Good for bias. I need to make the market recap. I haven't even done anything. I haven't even gone over trades. I should probably just film it. It doesn't need to be perfect. I do want it to be decent though. I can't wait to get to the point where I could trade full time and then I could just review the market as much as I want. That'd be kind of fun. Sweep possession liquidity target, opposing liquidity. It's real. S&T happened a lot in 2 a.m. candle. Yeah, S&T does happen a lot in that 2 a.m. candle because it's typically when we'll manipulate, right? So I've noticed as well, even from the beginning of the morning, I noticed this, that when we sweep out London highs with S&T, this was a giant 2022 model. And I noticed this from the very beginning. That's why I ended up taking my trade the way that I did. That's one of the biggest confluences I had for my trade is we swept out London highs with S&T, and we had essentially this giant 2022 gap. And so, I'm glad that I noticed it. But it's kind of, I was not expecting it to hold this long actually, and we ended up coming back up, and then it still held. So hopefully this makes sense, right? We sweep session liquidity, we break structure here. And then this is a giant 2022 fair value gap within premium of this price leg. And what I'm saying is this was essentially backup for my trade in the back of my mind. Because I took my trade off that 1 minute change to delivery, but I knew we had a 2022 gap in the background that would be, supporting my trade. And it's kind of interesting because you can see that this ends up supporting price to deliver lower. And we also had SMT with that high. What do you do after trading? I go to work. I work at my dad's apartments, and I just, do whatever needs to get done there. Usually it's like turning over units for new tenants to move in, and taking care of the lawn and stuff. I don't know. There's a billion things. Killing the weeds. It was really nice. And then, yeah, the inducement happened within this 2022 gap. So let's see what kind of RR you would get off of this 2022 gap if you had stop loss at the high. Like if you just took this super mechanically, like you were a robot. Let's say you took this like you're literally like a robot, and you just went, all right, I'm taking this as a 2022 model. I'm not even gonna be thinking. I'm just taking this super mechanically. That's crazy. Isn't it crazy how powerful the 2022 model is? I mean, you just take it like a robot, and you're getting 7R. Genuinely, that's so crazy. You don't even have to try. Like, people trading 2022 model, no wonder TJR is so profitable. He doesn't even have to try. He just reads the market super mechanically. 2022 model is actually crazy good. It's literally just like, it's almost like 100% mechanical. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I wish I had more time to trade too. I could love if I could just trade all the time. It would be awesome. Well, obviously, you get to a point where you want to make sure you get off the charts and give yourself some room to readjust, and because otherwise you're gonna, take bad trades. But you get what I mean. Like, trade as little or as much as I want on a given day. That'd be cool. Look at how clean this is. Genuinely, that's so cool. And also, we're above our time levels. So we're above it. We manipulate above 8:30. We manipulate above midnight. We manipulate above 9:30. I don't know how important 9:30 is, to be honest, but we still manipulate above it. I only really care about midnight and 8:30. I mean, that's just sweet. Just super mechanical 2022 model ends up delivering for like 7R. It's crazy how powerful the 2022 model can be. Yeah, exactly. You have to have self-control. And also, like, yeah, no, if I genuinely had limited time to trade, I actually most likely probably would just stick to my, live trading window and have it be that, because otherwise I'd probably overtrade. I think that my live trading window is honestly perfect, and then I can just, have the rest of the day to do whatever I want. I don't think I need more than my live trading window, to be completely honest. Obviously, I like to review price action for the entire day because I can review more price action, but as far as trading goes, it's probably just best to just only take trades in my live trading window. So 8:45, 2022, 3-minute. Isn't that crazy how mechanical this was, and this ends up still delivering for 7R. Okay, I'm gonna get some water. I mean, that's genuinely that is algorithmic. That's literally that is coded. That is 100% coded. Oh. $8:45, 2022 model, 3-minute. Yeah, man, that was clean. Wonder if this was even a 5-minute. Okay, what could you align with the 3-minute? I'm so curious now, because I bet you could take this as a flow state aligned with this 3-minute. So this is my 2022 plus model. I wrote down what I think should align with the 3-minute. Yeah, I think the 3-minute should align with the 2020. Not 2020. The 3-minute should align with the 15-second. Because I was just thinking about it, and 5-minute aligns with 30-second. 1-minute aligns with 5-second. So 3-minute should align with the 30-second, right? So 3-minute 2022 gap. Dang, I feel like hopefully we're gonna get really, really good at trading, crazy good. How cool would that be? So anyway, 15-second change state delivery occurs here. Wow. Oh my gosh, look at how perfect this is. Bang! That's algorithmic right there. So yeah, 3-minute definitely aligns with the 15-second. So this is the 2022 plus model that I made. Essentially, you're aligning whatever the 2022 gap is with its aligned time with a flow state. So since it's a 3-minute 2022 gap, I'm aligning it with a 15-second change state delivery. Down to 1/8 standard deviation. Isn't that so crazy? Look at every single standard deviation. I mean, I can't make this up. Every single standard deviation, it is literally the market moving rhythmically to it. It's literally like a heartbeat. It's like boom, 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 boom. The heartbeat of the market. That is so cool. So for aesthetic purposes, I'm just going to drag this over because it doesn't really matter because you can't see it. Same thing with the SMT. You can't see what you can't see, so I'm dragging this over, making it look better for aesthetics. Break of structure. Measuring this out, premium to discount. Here's that 3-minute 2022 gap. This aligns with the 15-second. It's so perfect, guys. Oh my gosh. I'm obsessed. I am obsessed with trading. Above 8:30, above midnight. It's like bum 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 bum. Okay, I'm being stupid, but you hear the drums echoing tonight. That's kind of what I'm feeling with this 2022 model here, dude. It's literally like a heartbeat, like boom, boom, boom. 4, 4, 1, 4, 5. I measured this out bad. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Every single standard deviation hit perfectly. Hear the drums echoing tonight. Brains only whispers with some quiet conversation. Da 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 da. Da, 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 da. Did I not bold this? I didn't make it 14. I hear the drums echoing tonight. These only whispers from some quiet conversation. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Yes. I mean, genuinely, look at how every single standard deviation holds. is a reaction. You can see this, right? It's obvious the market's beating to this rhythm. Like I always say, the market is perfect. You're a big fan of for Ryan Dodgy, but I know seeing you using his indicator. I don't use his indicator. I don't even really trade inverse value gaps a ton, really. Well, I do use inverse value gaps a bit, but I use inverse. I basically take different types of entries. But the main thing is I trade liquidity, right? I trade to target old highs and lows in the market. But the three entry models I have are inverse value gap, flow state, which is essentially a change state of delivery, and 2022 for value gaps. You're a big fan of Raji, but yeah, I'm not. I don't use his indicator. I definitely don't use his indicator. I was trying it out for just a bit, but I definitely do not use it anymore. I looked at it I tried it out for like a month. It's pretty cool. So this is a 3-minute for value gap. That's the 2022 model aligned with the 15-second. So I call this the 2022 plus model. So 10 o'clock. Wow, wasn't that when news came out? Whoa. Was it when news came out? 10 o'clock, 2022 plus. 3-minute aligned with the 15-second. That's crazy. That is when news came out, right? You took this? Bro, you took this trade? This has gotta be like a if you're taking this kind of a trade, you gotta be like one of the goats of trading, man. Because this, like, I dream of being able to spot something like this in the moment. Like, I observe it after the fact, but being able to catch this in the moment, oh my gosh, it would be so cool. I just, I think one day soon, hopefully, I'll be able to do it. But right now, it's just kind of more just like a for fun little observational experiment. From Flow State OTE. That's 28-1. Sniper 2022 plus. I'm gonna save this real quick. 954. 954. 2022 plus sniper variant. 3 minute, 15 second. Be crazy if you. One of these days, man, how cool would it be if I caught this? I don't see why not. I don't see why this is that impossible. I mean, it's very, very system based. Find the 2022 for value gap. Okay. Wait for the aligned time frame change state delivery. Okay. Now wait for OT to get hit. How hard is that? That's 3 steps. Find the 2022 for value gap. Find the change state delivery. Wait for OT of the change state delivery to high, get hit. That's totally mechanical. Totally mechanical. And so why couldn't I catch this? 2022 plus sniper variant, 3 minute, 15 second. Means literally completely systemized. This is a completely mechanical way to get a 28R. 954. 3 minute, 15 second. Okay, was 10 a.m. when news came out? Oh man, I need to make this market recap. Yeah, 10-8. That is so crazy. 10 a.m. was literally when news came out. Oh my gosh. That is bizarre. I get what what they say. Like, this is like literally like the perfect example of how, you know, news delivers price to where it already wants to go. News already had plans for what it wanted. It's like ding, 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 ding. Here we go. 10 a.m. news right there. Perfectly. Can't make that up. That is so cool. I mean, genuinely, that is just so cool. My bias was 4-hour close in the range and 15-minute short S&T. Nice. I'm going to tweet this. I'm going to tweet. I'm going to retweet a post I made quite a while ago. Here it is. I kind of want to add a GIF. Like a matrix. You can't even see my screen. I'm having fun with this. Ooh, switching to the screen. Oh, not that one. Not that one. Dude, I suck at switching screens. Oh, I kind of like this one. That's so. I don't know if I don't get why other people don't appreciate this like I do. This is so cool. I'm having a tough time deciding which one I want to use. I liked this one where he tilts his head up, but I wanted it to have like the Matrix on the back in the background. I like this one though. Can I do two? I like this one better. That's so crazy, man. Alright, what should the comment be? Oh my gosh. That's so sick. That is such a cool tweet. That's so crazy. Oh. Man, I'm not done reviewing the market. This is so cool. Wonder if anyone's watching. Oh, there's 2 people watching. That's kind of cool. Yeah, I mean, what are the odds? We perfectly backtest the change instead delivery right at 10 a.m. within this model and deliver towards where we want to go. What are the odds of that? No, like seriously, like if this was random, how could that be possible? It's just like, oh my gosh, like news delivers price to where it wants to go. That's so cool. Okay, let's keep looking at more things you trades or whatever. That's so sick. I think we should maybe just, film this thing. I mean, I want to be able to go over a few more trades, right? I mean, maybe you say, okay, I just consider this an hourly BPR, even though you kind of just say, you kind of just eyeball it. So maybe you go 1 hour BPR. This actually would end up working out. It's more 4 hour BPR though. It definitely makes more sense to take as a 4 hour BPR. But what I'm saying is, like, could you maybe get away with calling this a 1 hour BPR? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Because then if you can call this a 1 hour BPR, or maybe you need to call it a 1 hour order block, that's also, something to consider. But then you can take this 5-minute change state delivery. And this 5-minute is a lot cleaner. But I kind of like the lower time frame trades, if I'm being honest. We had this 5-minute gap. So once again, I really liked this one. This was nice. And I almost took this. I was very, very, very close to taking this. And this actually would have hit really nicely. I was super close to taking it. The main reason I didn't is just I already had taken a win. And actually, I think this would have been even better taken as... So I know I wanted to take it on this change state delivery, and that works. But it would have been better taken as... this changes the delivery. That's right. Point is, I almost took this. We hit the first standard deviation. But what I'm saying is, well, let's say you took the lower one instead. I was so close to taking this live. And I actually think I would have just targeted that first standard deviation, because I wanted to just, get my win and run. So we hit that first standard deviation. And so there's no way this would be a loss, because I would have definitely gone break even here, right? $9.39. Flow state retest. 5 minute, 30 second. But yeah, like I was saying, you could have taken this on the close, like this. Like, I like this. This has got, instantaneously, this gives really, really nice good R. This gives instantaneously good RR. You can target that first standard deviation. That's a clean trade right there. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. That is clean. And that's 3R. And you basically turn a trade that's a higher time frame trade that's not that good RR, and you turn it into a 3R trade. It's pretty cool. That is cool. $9.37 flow state close, 5 minute, 30 second. It's pretty cool. That ended up being 3R. You know what's cool though is we did have this end up being a Phoenix model again at the high. Once again, right? Where we have a rejection block. And let's see. 5-minute rejection block. I actually really like rejection blocks a lot. So 5-minute rejection block. I should probably film this market recap because I gotta go to bed. Good thing I took a nap though. Right? Why is this a good rejection block? Because we swept liquidity. And yeah, this ends up being an amazing Phoenix model. Did I record it? Yeah, I wrote it down as a 15-minute one. But it's important to note this was also a 5-minute rejection block. Actually, this, now that I think about it, oh my gosh. The trade that I took would have hit all TPs if I took it on the 5-minute aligned with the 30-second. I'm just now realizing that. Oh my gosh. That is a bummer. That is a bummer. And I'm gonna prove it to you right now, right? So switching screens. So, right, I took this 15-minute rejection block, and yeah, we get SMT with this rejection block. We get our trade. Cool, right? This ends up working out, but this also is a 5-minute rejection block, and all of a sudden now you can take a 30-second change state delivery instead, and now this becomes powerful, where now we have a 5-minute rejection block instead of a 15-minute. We get SMT. So SMT there, SMT here. This is so cool. And then you could go on the 30-second instead of the 1 minute. And you could take an even lower time frame version of the same trade that I ended up taking. Now, you'd have to get, it'd have to be pretty precise to get filled here. So I don't actually feel that bad because it looks like I would not have got filled. But let's say you were like the perfect trader. Only third standard deviation. So if you were using like, you know, like if this was a speed run, this would be like you having to use tool assisted, you know, mechanics. But if you could somehow get this entry on this candle after this close, it's a TAS entry for trading. Right? If you could somehow get this entry, then this would have gone to the third standard deviation. But you know what? I actually don't think that that's realistic at all. So, it's okay. Should I even record it? Sure. Because, like, you know, if you're perfect, if you're literally perfect, you just enter right there. then sure, you would have hit the third standard deviation. Whatever. Good for you. You're a robot. It's hard for us humans to take this. Bet you some computer programs took this one. But once again, you'd kind of have to be perfect. So I'm just going to call this 819 flow state retest 5 minute 30-second TAS entry. Because like who's actually going to be able to get that? No one. And then, like, yeah, maybe there's some inverse for value gaps. Maybe we should look. I guess let's go back to the other screen. We do end up getting this 1 minute inverse for value gap. It does end up being break even if you go break even here, but you could also end up holding for this LRLR based off of conviction. This would be honestly one I would definitely very possibly consider holding for conviction if I was taking this as an inversion. Yeah, there we go. Sweep of that low. Bang. And then 1 minute change state delivery. I mean, not 1 minute change state delivery. 1 minute inverse value gap. And yeah, this is just one where if you held it instead of going break even, it would have worked. But it'd probably get break evens. That, once again, that's a personal preference thing. If you held it because of this LRLR, then you would have hit your TP. This is why I don't like inversions that much, is because it's like you have to be so precise. If I don't get that entry, I mean, you already know that I'd probably miss this entry, and then I'm just stressing this whole time. It's like it's too stressful for me. But you know, there are some inversions that I really do like. So I kind of want to film the market recap. Is there anything else I should look at? Wonder if anyone's watching. I'm going to put a note here saying this would only work if you didn't go break even. At the internal high and held for the LRR because of conviction. So there's a little note. So inverse value gap 937. 1 minute. You know, maybe there's a chance that there's a 2 minute external gap. Oh, it technically was a 2 minute inversion. I don't know. It's not that obvious of an external gap. And you'd have to front run, man, and you'd have to front run a low time frame. I'm going to write that in the notes as well. That you front ran a 2 minute and a 3 minute gap. Tiny one, but still. Where is it? Where'd it go? Yeah, what else do we even look at? Yeah, I mean, from here on, we kind of just distribute lower right after news. So we get news out. News comes out at 10. From there. Oh, you took the 1 minute inversion? Is that what you took? That's the good trade I took in the AM, but I entered right at 23,310. When it took out the equal lows. Did you just turtle soup the lows? That's kind of cool, though. Good job, Javier. Let's see. Well, we did have this 5 minute fair value gap here. Anyway, I'm going to make a note here that's just saying, like, from 10 a.m. on, we just, after the news comes out, we deliver lower. Makes sense. That's a pretty sweet trade, man. Good job. 10 o'clock news from here on, we essentially just distribute lower. Man, there really was a lot of opportunity, but yeah, it's not easy to see it in the moment. Whoops. Screenshot of that bad. So anyway, we had that 5-minute gap. I'm gonna mark that out. I would just really, it's gonna take like 2 seconds. I want to really quickly see if there was a 30-second chain stay delivery off of that. Actually, there kind of was. That's crazy. That's actually such a subtle thing. But like if I measure out this displacement, yeah, we're most definitely in premium. That is so subtle. But we have a 5-minute for value gap here. Wow. Most people would never notice this. I'm not gonna lie. Right? We sweep out these highs. So liquidity sweep. Essentially break of structure here. The displacement. 5-minute for value gap. And then low time frame. I guess, yeah, I would consider this break of structure, right? And then a tiny little sweep here, and then 30-second change state delivery. That is crazy subtle, but look at that. If you entered on the close, what's the RR on that? Such a subtle trade. I mean, yeah, let's say you took this down to that consolidation over there. It's a pretty reasonable target. That's 3R. Crazy. Yeah, I'm gonna screenshot that. $10.11 flow state close. 5-minute, 30-second. Oh. I mean, we just keep going, which is kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of lost. What even am I looking at right now? Oh, the 15-minute chart. I could look at PM. I kind of want to look at PM. I should have filmed this video like quite a while ago. I'm being kind of dumb. But I want to look at PM. So, man, am I ever gonna get my short form videos done? Ever? I literally never have time for them anymore. Yeah, very clean 15-minute BPR here. Actually, just gonna mark it out like this. I mean, hey, to be fair, I kind of think backtesting is a little more important than short form videos, but oh wow, there's 3 of you watching. That's pretty crazy. It's just a random, like I would definitely expect at this point no one to be watching. 15-minute BPR. So the question is always, well, What displacement leg should we use to measure premium discount? This one, interestingly, we actually don't come back to premium. But this one, we do. I don't know. That's kind of an iffy subject. I'm not gonna say you can't use this 15-minute BPR because it's not perfectly in premium. I think it's probably okay, especially because it's pretty clear accumulation, manipulation of the high. So I think it just really depends on context. Like this looks pretty decent. Accumulation, 15-minute BPR. I mean, it doesn't get more clean than this, guys. Like, I think my grandma could take this one. 15-minute BPR, sweep of the high. So what is this? This is all manipulation. Here's the first change to delivery that makes sense to me, that's obvious. I mean, obviously, you could take that if you're a degen. I'm not going to take that one. It's just not how I like to trade. But someone's taking that for 20R, I already know. And it probably, it could hit. I don't even know how to draw this liquidity sweep. I think that's fine. So accumulation, liquidity sweep. So we have the 15-minute BPR. What's our line time frame? 1 minute. This one was clean. Like, this is just about as clean as it gets. You can take this on the close or retest, either one. I'd probably just put limit order right. Like, the second that this closes, I'm putting limit order right there. And then you see how instantly you get filled. And then, obviously, you guys know me. I do one off at each standard deviation. So, I trail it. So, I'd go 1, 2, 3. Maybe I'd get trailed on the 4th. Maybe not, depending on where I trailed it to. And then 4th. A good reason to take all off at the 3rd in this situation, though, is because that's kind of the end of this little tiny consolidation here. So it's important to just not only just take trades just because, the standard deviations, the 4th one's right there, we should go to the 4th. It's like, well, also look at the liquidity. This is where the consolidation ends. So maybe you want, in this situation, take all off at the 3rd. Every situation's different. So this is how I would take this, to be honest, in the future. Because I want to always frame a trade exactly how I think it should be taken in the future, so it's just in my mental reps. So something like this, that. Then again, maybe you leave 1 to go for the 4th. I don't really see an issue with that. Yeah, that's probably fine. So this is a personal preference thing. Whether you take all off at the 3rd or whether you leave 1 to go to the 4th, it honestly does not matter. So this is why, I need to give myself a little bit of wiggle room, because otherwise if I trail my stop too aggressively, I will get stopped out a lot of the time. So I always have to be careful. So accumulation, manipulation, and then distribution. So how would I take this? Probably one at each standard deviation. So like maybe TP1. You could go TP1 and break even, honestly. I think that's fine in this situation. Be conservative. Why not? There's a chance you would have got break even, but in this situation you don't, which is cool. TP1 and break even. TP2. Would I have a TP2 trail? Probably, because why would we go over this? Why would we get back over this gap? So I would definitely trail my stop to above this gap, probably at the wick. Just preserve a little bit more, right? Why not? So TP2 trail. TP2, and then TP3 gets hit. So now this is the tricky one. Where would I trail TP3? Well, yeah, this one's the tricky one. Maybe trail TP3 at the high of this order block. TP2, TP3. And then TP4 hit. That is a clean looking trade. What can I say? Flow state is pretty good. That is clean. I mean, once again, notice that percent time-wise that we always say, right? Like 60, I can't remember what it was, but it's like 70% accumulation, 10% manipulation, 20% distribution. Like, I don't remember the exact numbers from when we did the measurement, but very rough little estimate. And that can be helpful sometimes to know how long should it take. Like, this is your textbook version of that. I kind of want to measure that out again. I should film the market recap. It's so late. I just enjoy this so much. $14.11 flow state retest. 15-minute, 1 minute. Yeah, it's important to give yourself wiggle room, not trail too aggressively, so you can actually have them. Ideally, in the best case scenario, you actually have all the TPs get hit. That should, as long as you do everything right, I feel like, and it's a good trade, theoretically, fourth standard deviation should get hit. So you should allow yourself to take it intending the fourth standard deviation to get hit and not get scared. That's really what I think personally. So I wouldn't trail it too aggressively. Give it some breathing room, but also trail it reasonably because, there's no point in letting it coming all the way back to break even either. That's just how I see it. So once again, did this BPR have to be in premium for this to work? Actually, no. Which is, typically you want to see it in premium, but I can't argue with what I'm seeing here. Clearly in this situation, it didn't have to be in premium of this. It's just a very specific scenario. And yeah, it ended up working out. Now, was it in premium of this thing? Sure. But, at some point you just have to ask yourself, well, technically then you could just measure any move you want, and then technically you'll be in discount or premium. So yeah, that was clear AMD. That made a lot of sense. And I didn't even look for S&Ts here. But we also get this 15-minute inverse value gap. That is clean. It's a very simple, simple trade, but 15-minute inversion right here. We're probably going to go run this low. I don't know if I would take that, though. Maybe mark it out. So, just very briefly marking this out. Something like this. Stop loss above the fair value gap. Yeah, that's like barely 1R. That's why sometimes I really don't like inverse fair value gaps, but we'll still log it. $14.15 inverse fair value gap, 15-minute, and I should really film this market recap. I just feel like there's just so much more that I'm missing. I feel like this every single day. It is kind of what it is, though. You know what, though? There was probably a 5-minute gap here. No, really. Well, you could use these two as one, and now all of a sudden you do have a 5-minute gap. Actually, there's a very, very super small, tiny one. That was actually very precise. That was absurdly precise, actually. Now if I measure out, oh man. That's interesting. Was that around OTE? Oh my gosh. Look at that. That's perfectly in the sweet spot. This gave this fair value gap a power up right here. Oh, that's pretty cool. Five-minute fair value gap perfectly at OT sweet spot. Like I always say, there's just always more to look at. And now, we'll probably get a 30-second chain stay delivery here. Right, from here to here, this is the displacement leg. That is so cool. So, 5-minute for VI gap. The market just keeps getting cooler the longer you look at it. I'm not, I can't make this up. Wow. Sweep of this high. That's so precise. Then we get 30-second chain stay delivery. What do we hit? What do we hit? No, this is the cherry on the cake for me. The market is never wrong, guys. If you lose a trade, no, I'm just gonna come out and say it. I've seen enough. I am just going to say what everyone else is gonna hate me for. But I've seen enough, man. It is too overwhelmingly convincing. If you lose a trade, if you take a loss, the market is always right. There is a reason your trade messed up. Go in the charts and learn. And in my opinion, all these people saying, oh yeah, well, obviously losses are part of trading, and I totally agree. Like, if you can't handle a loss, you'll never be a trader, number one. But also, all these people saying, oh yeah, we just took a loss, we just gotta accept it. Like, no, I really don't believe that. I think that the market runs based off of smart money concepts, and if so, the people who trade them the best, they're gonna have the best edge. It's just that simple. And I'm noticing the 7th standard deviation gets hit a little bit more often than the 8th. Anyway, I'd probably target the 8th here. Pretty cool. Oh man. Imagine you just catch one of these a year. You're done for your year. Hit one of these a year and I'm done for the year. Never, just do whatever I want for the entire year. That's so cool. Man, I'm getting tired. I need to film it so I can go to bed. I think we've covered enough. Obviously, I want to keep going, but I think at this point, it's just getting a little excessive. So I'm just going to film it. Because it's getting super late. Luckily, I took a nap, but... Okay, I'm gonna go film this video. I'll see you guys later. One last second. Let's see. One last time. Let's see how many people are watching, if anyone. There's still 3 watching. That's crazy. All right, I'm gonna film. Yeah, hopefully it doesn't take me too long, because I gotta go to bed. Okay, see you guys later. Bye.